Like, come on, y'all. Consistency is key. Hey, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Alright, so we have been through the best of 2018. We have been through the worst of 2018. And now it is time to discuss the middle ground makeup of 2018. Now, this is talking about products that weren't like, oh, you were horrible, but also products that weren't like, blew my mind. This doesn't mean that they're bad products, it just means that they were kind of like, they didn't stand out from amongst the crowd, as it were. So I have got all palettes here, honestly. We've got all eyeshadow palettes and one face palette. And guys, just like any kind of video, just like favorites and worst, if any of these palettes are like your favorite end all be all palettes, that is great. You keep doing you. These are things that just kind of were, like I said, in the middle for me. Alright, so let's start off with Kat Von D. She honestly wasn't really impressing me a lot in 2019. She did release her 10-year anniversary collection. The packaging is beautiful. I love this picture. It's heavy. It's great. You open it up and you're kind of like, it's like a desaturated, not as good, amazing version of her Mi Vida Loca Remix palette, which honestly she should just make permanent because that would be da bomb. This isn't a bad palette. It's got some pretty good quality going on here, but overall it just wasn't something that I was like, yes, I am reaching for this constantly because I enjoy using it or because I enjoy the color scheme. I would have preferred to see something a bit more cohesive and thematic from her. Like if she had gone with like this unique blue shade and this green here and kind of gone with that on these two levels, would have been bomb-tastic. But we don't want a desaturated Mi Vida Loca that's just kind of meh and thrown together. We want the Mi Vida Loca. So although the packaging is beautiful and although like the color selection is something I can work with, overall it's not one that stands out to me as being cohesive or being really anything special in my collection or anything special considering the fact that Kat Von D is usually more revolutionary and more groundbreaking when it comes to her releases. Next up, another brand that I absolutely love. We have got Anastasia Beverly Hills matching my hair. The Norvina palette. Now, I am aware that, I mean, a couple of these are like people's cult favorite end all be out there. They're like, I love it. And I'm like, you're okay. You know, it's not a bad palette, which is just the running theme in all of this. It's just not a palette that really wowed me. Like, the mattes are nice, the shimmers are nice, the quality is good, it's Anastasia Beverly Hills quality, but I wish, like they have the beautiful purple packaging, and they have, like, this beautiful purple here, and this purple here. I wish they had taken that purple theme and really made a purple palette, rather than just, like, a neutral palette that has a purple in it. I mean, if they had taken like modern Renaissance, the theme of modern Renaissance, and been like, all right, we're committing to purple the way we committed to red, this would have been amazing. Because I feel like a lot of mainstream brands, Anastasia, Too Faced, Lorac, Urban Decay, well, kind of Urban Decay, like are afraid of doing a whole color scheme. And they're like, well, if we throw in two purples and a pink, that's a purple palette, when there are color lovers and people who are like, yeah, let's see a purple palette, are like, well, not really. The matte to shimmer ratio is fine. It's built like a Lorac Pro palette. Shimmers up here, mattes on here. That's great, but like I said, I just wish they had gone the true, had just been like, just fully committed, bit the whole bullet and been like, we are doing all purple, because that would have been received so much better than basically rehashing colors that we've already seen from them with a purple. Alright, then one that's middle ground for me. I did a review on this. I was very disappointed. This is the Jeffree Star Thirsty palette. She be looking like this. And the reason this one made it into like the middle ground makeup rather than the worst of is because like 60-70% of the palette I like, which are the mattes, which you have here and here. I absolutely love the color story of this section up here. Then you've got some more fun colors, but I hate these shimmers. They are so difficult to work with, and considering the fact that this palette was coming off the heels of Blood Sugar, I'm like, I was expecting the same formula, which on that palette is pretty stinking good. And then to have this, the matte formula is okay. The shimmer formula is atrocious. Like, it literally, like these, like this one and this one, the silver and like the bronzy whatever are okay, but this one, and this one, don't pick up with a brush. They're like, they don't adhere. So this was definitely middle ground because I occasionally pull it out for the mattes and the whatever. I don't touch the shimmers, so it's just kind of like sitting there, and I'm like, well, you weren't good and you weren't completely bad. Another Kat Von D middle ground, y'all would have seen this review, is her Lolita palette, which you guys know I had been waiting for since she like teased it like 3 years ago. And so you can imagine there was a lot of pent up expectation, and then I received this. Now y'all, she is very consistent with her releases for the past 3 years, Pastel Goth, Divine, and then this palette around the springtime. She has released a palette of this size, and then she releases something else, and then holiday. Now, the color selection is okay. I could do without Promesa. Besitos is pretty. I did comment about like, why is the Lolita shade in here? I understand, but like, I think this would have just been so much better if she had put it in her Shade and Light large palette format. Then she could have included Lolita as one of those like bigger shades that she includes that are like the ones you're going to use the most. We could have had more shades. It would have been a more beautiful color story, and I wouldn't have felt as salty that after waiting for 3 years, I'm only getting 8 shades. This just could have been so much more. Like I said, if she had put it in the larger format, she would have had more room to play with colors. We would have gotten more options. The Lolita shade would have made more sense. And it's just, like I said, just underwhelming. It's nice. It's pretty. I use it. I like the color theory. I like how my makeup turns out, but it could have been so much more. These brands are just like, they're like, let's be safe. Let's not give them amazing stuff. And I'm like, just go full on. Be as extra as possible. We want it all. All right, then we have an Urban Decay product, and this is the Naked Cherry, which is a palette that I was like, when it came out, I was like, you know, not really thinking I wanted to do it, and it took me a while, and then I got it, and I reviewed it, and it, you know, it's okay. The matte to shimmer ratio is nice. The quality is, you know, pretty good, but like, I think even compared to the Naked Heat, which is like my favorite Naked palette, the quality isn't as good and consistent, and the color theory is just kind of okay. Like, I know a lot of this is personal preference and all that jazz, but I just look at it and I'm like, all right, you know, it's like a red tone palette, but it's not as good as, say, Modern Renaissance, Blood Sugar, Venus XL, even the Venus Original. It's just kind of like too little, too late, because there are other palettes, bigger palettes with phenomenal formulas that are just so much better than this that I reach for those over these. I find several of the mattes to be very, very, very powdery, and they kind of suffer from that just kind of piffing away on your eyelid as you're going into blending. The shimmers are nice. Urban Decay doesn't have my end-all be-all shimmer formula, so it's just, like I said, it's just kind of meh. I appreciate the nice, sturdy, consistent packaging. That's good. But overall, she just didn't really overwhelm me. Might as well get Urban Decay out of the way. This is the Urban Decay Sin Face Palette. I specifically bought this and the Too Faced one to just so that I could do a rant. And the rant basically consisted of, I am tired of brands giving us the same thing over and over again, and I understand that there has, you know, unless it's a color that hasn't been invented, you've seen one color store, you've seen them all. But like, come on! From Urban Decay, these are like the most basic colors ever. You got kind of like a orgasmy pink, a normal pink, a kind of neutrally shade that's got 3 highlighters. And the highlighter formula, this is their Sin highlighter. I have it in a single. I love it. Not the same formula. Like, come on, y'all. Consistency is key. And it's just kind of like, it's like, come on. It's called the Sin Afterglow palette. Like, give me something sumptuous, a deep cherry shade, you know, something that evokes, you know, the theme of the palette. Which it's a nice palette, it's okay, except for the Sin shade, the quality is really nice. It's just so boring. And I'm not saying that every face palette should have like all these weird, crazy colors, but every once in a while, give us something that's a little more exciting, like those Natasha Denona face palettes. Those were so beautifully put together. Or the NARS blush palettes. I don't buy NARS, they're not cruelty free, but every time they release a face palette, I'm like, I want it, it's beautiful. You know, give us something a bit more, like I said, exciting. You know, it's nice, it's okay, I use it, but it's just bleh. Alright, then last but not least, we have got Lunar Beauty. The highlighting palette from this Greek goddess collection did make it into my favorites. And this, like I've said with everything, is not a bad palette. Considering the fact that this is only his second palette he's put on the market, props to him. But overall, it's just kind of like, okay, you know, I got it because I wanted to review it. I loved his formula on his Life is a Drag palette. I feel like he didn't have a chance to properly get up off the ground with his brand, so I was like, let's review this thing. I do absolutely love the shade Harmonia here. Nemesis is nice. Rhea, Aphrodite, Iris, Athena is beautiful. Artemis, like, it's nice. It's pretty, you know? But it's not like standing out. What stands out about it the most is the formula, because I do absolutely love his eyeshadow formula. But the color theory is like, all right, I can get these from Modern Renaissance. We got a little subculture over here. Every other neutral palette that exists. Peachy mattes. Packaging, gorgeous and stunning. But overall, this was just middle ground. You know, it was good. Not anything amazing, but it was good. Alright, you guys, that was my middle ground makeup for 2018. We've ended the reviewing of 2018. Let us take this and have good energy going into 2019. Definitely let me know what a kind of middle ground product was for you. I love hearing y'all's opinions and experiences with makeup. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and as always, keep it real. Mwah!